listening to
What the Tech.
Welcome to the What the Tech podcast, where we talk about business and office technology and put our 20 years of expertise to discussing trends and issues impacting the workplace.
Hi, it's Rolando here.
And this is Dave. Hey, Rolando.
All right. And you know what? We are your co-hosts of the podcast, What the Tech, where we speak to business and tech influencers to gain their valuable insights in today's evolving business world.
Very true. And hey, before we introduce today's guest, we want to give a big props to a couple of people out there. Listen, big props to John Lee. John is from the Work From Anywhere team. This guy's phenomenal. His business is phenomenal. There's obviously trend, a future of work from anywhere, hire from anywhere. It sounds all well and good, but listen, it's more than just picking up and going somewhere else. There's international tax implications that you should be aware of when you're hiring or working from anywhere. Check out WFA.team. It's a fantastic site. Love what John Lee and his team are doing out there. Also, big props to Dan Macram. Dan's the CEO of Charming Robot, also co-author of Barstool MBA. It's an audiobook. Hey, Dan, big props to you. Wanted to let you know I downloaded the book. I've listened to probably about good first half of that. Funny and definitely gets me thinking. So really great content out there. Listen, if you want to check out these two guests and others, you can see our podcast at circuitloops.com. Please check it out.
All right, Dave. Said big props to those folks. Hey, you know, Dave, I just want to throw in a little quick props. Big props to that Amazon team that supports us on our Amazon efforts. There's a long list of names, but you know who you are. Thank you very much for helping us out. It takes a ginormous effort to be successful on that platform. And I want to acknowledge you guys that are on that team that work with us and have been making it successful for us. Thank you. Dave, we've got a word from our sponsor, Circuit Loops. Circuit Loops. Now, if you're paying for slow, outdated business internet, stop doing that. The internet is the lifeline of your business. Treat it like it. And so for less than a cup of coffee, you can have a backup wireless internet to cover all your needs, because you don't know when the internet's going to go down, when the weather event's going to take you offline, and being offline can be costly, downright deadly for some folks that are in particular mission critical operations. And you know, best yet, Dave, Circuit Loops can provide a business proposal within 60 seconds automatically for you. No need to wait around for a rep. You could have it at your fingertips so that you can take the action, and it's personalized just for your business needs. So what are you waiting for? Go to circuitloops.com, get your personalized proposal right now, and in less than 60 seconds. Back to you, Dave.
Hey, listen, we want to introduce our guest here. Her name is Dr. Arshia Khan. She's a professor and director of graduate studies, Department of Computer Science, Swenson College of Science and Engineering at the University of Minnesota Duluth. Go Bulldogs, right?
Yes. Go Bulldogs. Champ the Bulldog, baby.
Dr. Khan works with robots and wearable sensors. Super interesting stuff. Her window into the field of robotics is unique, given her engineering background and interest in medicine, biomedical engineering, and robotic assistive technologies. Welcome to the show, Dr. Arshia Khan.
Hey there. Let me give you a proper introduction now.
Welcome.
How would you like us to you want Arshia, Dr. Khan, Professor Khan? You tell me how you want us to address you.
Whatever makes you feel happy.
All right. I want to make you feel
Whatever is
different.
easier for you, let's say.
Okay. All right. We may throw in a few different professor. I love the professor title. It's great. I at some point, I thought I was going to go into academics when I studied psychology in Minnesota at McAllister, which is right in the Twin Cities.
Yes.
Yep. And my brother actually did his residency at the University of Duluth. He's a surgeon now. And so he lives right in your backyard. Shout out to my brother, Raul Rosas, if you're listening.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to be on your podcast.
Awesome. We are glad to have you. You are in the field of technology. And
Yeah.
so the first thing I want to know, what technology right now are you geeking out on, fascinates you, or it's really just been bubbling up inside you that you just can't get your eyes off and hands off?
I think it's the wearable technology that can really change how we look at healthcare. And when you combine it with robotics, you can really enhance care. And it's like totally thinking out of the box. Before the pandemic, people were not in sync with robotics, so against robotics. Some people even commented, oh, you're doing the devil's work. But now, I think since the pandemic, people have realized how useful robots can be.
Right.
For one, robots do not spread infection like
Very
humans do.
important.
Yes, exactly. Especially if we are in hospital and nursing home settings, we do need bodies that will not spread the infection. And
Sure.
robots can be perfect for that.
That's an interesting point. Yeah.
Yes. And then when you add the wearable technology where we can actually monitor a person, track their data, and be able to predict any kind of negative episode that they may have, that is taking technology and combining it with medicine and offering medicine in a whole different world.
I'm fascinated about this whole AI piece and the robot, in this case, understanding the person that they're working with so that it can better respond as well as understand
Yes.
what the patient or person that they're interacting can go through. Before I really dive into that, in Will Smith's world, the robots are conscious, they
Mhm.
understand human emotion, they're able to predict, like you're saying,
Yeah.
predict some of what a human may want or need. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
It depends on what we try to use it for. If we try to use it to destroy somebody, then yes, it is a very bad thing. But if we take that same technology and use it, for example, for an elderly person who is feeling extremely lonely and isolated, you bring this robot there who can understand that person, interact with that person, meet them, and recognize them, remember their past, remind them of their past. That would be an amazing thing for the people.
Absolutely. I've seen your other interviews with Nora O'Donnell, where they were showing your robots and they were showing patients interacting with it. You said something to me that we can see for those folks that are watching on the video side of things, the interaction that's happening with the elderly patient and the robot. But you said something to me that was fascinating a few weeks ago, that one of the things that surprised you about this was the trust level that the elderly have with robots. And that also surprised me
Mm.
because what you're saying, we have here, and I think it may be more of a US cultural thing versus like Asian countries where they're like completely, fully accepting robots into their lives. Here we have a skeptical kind of point of view. Is it going to turn into Skynet and they take over and take us out? But you said to me, no, it's quite the opposite. The trust level is higher than even their own family members.
Exactly, exactly. Because when I take these robots out to the nursing homes, the residents at the nursing homes trust the robot. They have this sort of faith in the robot and they believe that the robot is not going to judge them and turn
Mm.
around and tell them what to do and what not to do. They absolutely love that. A couple of weeks ago, I was in a nursing home and we were trying out some of our new applications. And before I could get the robot started with the application, the resident wanted to just sit and chat with the robot.
Hmm, interesting.
She just could not give up on chatting. For half an hour, she kept interacting with the robot. And then after a half hour, I had to intervene and say, no, let's give it a chance to do what it's supposed to be doing.
So in that, when that was happening, is the AI that's built into the robot, is it learning about that resident?
At that point, it wasn't. It can be, yes. But at that point, we were just waiting to get the program started.
Yeah. And do they warm up with a resident in a nursing home? Is the natural reaction relatively positive like that, where the trust is there? Or was that a one-off case where you were like, this is just unbelievable to me?
before I got into this, my biggest fear was I'm proposing this groundbreaking, like totally thinking out of the box thing. What if the people I'm designing this for do not accept it? That was
Yeah.
my biggest fear. To
Understandable.
my surprise, they are so open minded. It's amazing. You cannot believe it how open minded they are, even though they're coming from a generation where they haven't been exposed to technology as much as we have been. But the drive behind that is their loneliness.
Mhm.
They are missing the social interaction, especially during the pandemic. Even family members couldn't go and visit them.
You couldn't go. Everybody in a nursing home was isolated. And
Ex-
even
ex-
as we got into the pandemic, they were still isolated because they didn't want people to go in and bring new infections.
Exactly. So now they have these robots that they can interact with and sit and chat for hours. They just love it. They are totally amused. They're amused by how my robot can lead exercises, help them do yoga. There have been times when a person, a resident who hasn't spoken up or interacted with anybody in years, suddenly are
Rising.
interacting with the robot.
Wow. And what happens with the staff? You bring this in. Obviously, this is not a common type of application in nursery homes or daycare or nursery care. What's the staff reacting when they see this kind of reaction that you're saying? Patients that have been not speaking for years, now all of a sudden they're talking.
I have given my cell phone number to the staff members at these nursing homes where my robots are deployed, and they text me immediately
Wow.
and they send me pictures right away. And they are so happy, absolutely in cloud nine.
What kind of effect does that have on the morale? Because these are not glorious positions, right? These people taking care of our elderly. They're not getting paid $100,000 to come in and take care of people. They're getting paid a lot less than what they should be. And
Yeah.
sometimes they're brought in as immigrants from other countries to do that because nobody else wants to do that dirty work. What's that morale? Have they told you what it's like after they've seen patients come to life? Maybe their spirits are better. What's that like with the staff there?
They are just so happy, extremely happy, beyond words. Imagine they take the time to send me a text message saying this was the interaction, this is what just happened. And mind you, this taking care of the robots is on top of what they are supposed to be doing.
Wow.
So it is actually helping them because let's say if they take the robot and they leave the robot with the person and the robot is interacting, let's say the robot is doing some kind of a dance with the person or telling jokes or whatever the different apps that we have, that relieves that caretaker for a few minutes where they can either just go and relax, have a cup of tea, coffee, whatever, or even go and tend to the things that they need to do. Just a
Wow.
few minutes that they can get away from taking care of somebody.
That's
It's
awesome.
really good for mental and physical well-being of people.
Sure. Adapting new technologies, sometimes it can be a long process. You have to learn about your new software. You have to train all of your people on it.
Yes.
It's mundane. It's very technical. It's data driven. This is the type of technology that people can really get excited about when they know they're going live. That launch day must be a really exciting day. It's almost like you're adding a new employee to the staff. It's like, they're coming in today. Today's the day. And let me ask, what is their reaction, their initial reaction, the staff, when they see this robot rolling through?
So I have been to so many different nursing homes, and most of the nursing homes, what I've seen is they have a countdown, literally counting down the days that the robots are going to be on site.
Wow.
And on the last day, they have the countdown by hours. Okay, we are going to have the robot within this many minutes. And they're
Wow.
super excited. The residents get up early that day. They finish their breakfast early and they are all dressed and ready to meet the robot.
And what's that like? And you've probably done this numerous times. Those robots leave, they're gone.
The
What's the
robot
effect it has on the folks that are left behind, like the actual patients? Or is there some effect that happens afterward, positive or negative, as well as the folks that interact with that robot?
we leave the robots there because this deployment is for Monarch
Okay.
healthcare management. And
Okay.
we have been deploying over 8 different nursing homes of Monarch and leave the robots there.
Okay.
There's been times when the residents actually follow me really fast in their wheelchairs as I'm leaving and wondering if I'm going to take the robots back with me.
Ooh.
So they ask me, literally ask me, I am going to take the robots with you. Can you please leave them with us?
No.
Then I'm happy to turn around and say, no, they're yours now.
Wow. Wow. That's terrific. One thing you said to me, we are talking about patients and then not wanting the robots to leave. You'd mentioned to me that you can train the robots and you said jokes. You'd even said that you get requests from because these folks are so lonely. They want you to train the robots to tell dirty jokes. Is that right?
Yes, some of them. Yes.
That to me shows a level of the depth of how they want to interact with a robot. Like it's one thing to be like, your birthday was 3 months ago, your daughter is such and such. But then when you're getting really into, I want to have an ongoing conversation and tell me dirty jokes so I can laugh or whatever, or remember the past or a particular place. It really speaks to the level of acceptance of that in somebody's life.
Yes, it does.
Well, when we're talking about robots, I know that robotics in general and the technology behind it is really not inexpensive technology. I would imagine you have a lot of work, a lot of interns, postgraduate folks that work in your department, work with you side by side. It takes an interdisciplinary approach. Ooh, that's a big word for me. Uh,
Yes.
Listen to this. If you had somebody like Melinda Gates or somebody else out there that says, Professor, I'm going to open up the checkbook. I'm going to let you do what you want to do and take it wherever you want to take it because this is great technology. What does that world look like? What could you do where you had funds to really go beyond where you are today?
Oh my God. That would be amazing. First of all, I would go ahead and hire a lot more women because one of the major things that I love doing is being an advocate for women. So typically
Mhm.
there's about 18 to 20% women in computer science. But if you come to my lab, I have 50 to 60% women
That's awesome.
because I recruit more women and I can be a role model for them. They can look at me and say, if she can do it, I can do it too.
That's awesome.
So that is one thing I would love to do. Number two is I would love to make these robots less expensive. Currently, I'm only focusing on developing apps. I have a little bit of resources I'm pouring into designing a robot that is less than $10,000. So I don't want to keep designing technology for the affluent people. I want
Okay.
to be able to make it affordable. So anybody should be able to afford it. Anybody living at home should be able to have a robot. That's where I want to see this technology go. That's where I would put some of the money in, or some money into developing a robot that is less expensive and affordable and still has the same features as the ones that we are using currently.
All right. So if Melinda Gates or anybody else out there that's got that kind of pocketbook funding organization, nonprofit, or even for profit organization, heck, somebody like Apple and Tim Cook could fund this. Somebody like Google, they're into this type of technologies as well. They could fund this. So if anybody at those organizations loves this type of work, wants to see it be in somebody's home, heck, I would love an iRobot that can cook just like in Will Smith's movie if that's possible. Or I've been through this as well from being a caretaker, my mother-in-law and several other folks. And it's very intensive when you have an older loved one. And there's a lot of folks today that, like you said, 10K, you ain't got that kind of cash laying around. You can't throw that around. And if it were to be more affordable, where it's within reach of more of the average person to
Mhm.
help facilitate. It would turn people's lives around from a personal level. And I would imagine from a business level, being that kind of helper or assistant that can do, like you said, those yoga that lead the yoga activities, tell jokes to patients, bring the morale of patients. It can slow down the effects of the memory loss. And I'd love for you to talk about that. I know you said you're working on the data for it. You're trying to get concrete numbers around that, but it can also have a tangible effect on the actual degeneration of the disease.
Yes, there are so many new things that I'm working on that I cannot really share right now, but these new things are going to take medicine in a new direction.
Awesome.
We are going to be able to diagnose. We are going to be able to offer so much more help and therapy that you cannot imagine. And these things are coming up. If I had additional funding, instead of sitting at every night, I'm working until like midnight every day writing grants. I
Mm.
feel like that's all I do. I should call myself a grant writer. But if I had those resources, then I can pour my time into developing more of those things. But we have some really big things coming up very soon that are going to help not only people who have been recently diagnosed with dementia, but people who are in their advanced stages. So most of the research that is being done is for early to middle stages. But what I am working on currently, the new things that I'm working on are for advanced stage dementia.
Wow.
So that the purpose is to slow down the decline. Of course, we cannot reverse it. It's not possible. But if we can slow down the decline by using technology, and we can do it, that's the biggest thing. We can do it. It's technology can be used for that. And so I think that if we can do it, that will be amazing.
Change the world.
It'll change the world. Yes.
So what I'm very interested in is the value that this brings not only to the patient, but their loved ones that are there helping with them. So my folks are getting older, and sometimes my father might get a little bit confused about what's going on that day. And my mother only has so much patience. And then my mom will call me up and then we'll talk and she'll tell me about dad and she'll share the story and you can hear it in her voice. So when we were introduced to you and I started reading about some of the work that you're doing, I'm just thinking about the benefits of the other people, that human interaction with someone that is suffering from dementia. It can be very frustrating, and alleviating that from the patient and also to the caretaker and then having that absorbed by the robot. I never thought about that before. And you really opened up my eyes. And I just think that's a wonderful thing that's happening here.
There's more, Dave. We have actually discovered a biomarker for memory recall in my lab. So we
Awesome.
can actually, we are working on trying to reverse engineer that so we can aid with memory recall.
Wow.
But all this requires a lot of human power and a lot of resources.
So Melinda Gates and others who've got those big foundations. Actually, Melinda Gates Foundation funds women in tech. She's really big into that. And believe it or not, she's announced something to do in this whole care economy, which is what your technology would also fall under. So if anybody that knows her or that is out there wanting to help the professor in her work, maybe hit her up. I don't know her personally, but I know that there are people probably in our circle that do. Another plug for that. But there's something about robots, and if we're talking tech now and you're putting them in a business environment, let's talk about business. I would love to know when these robots are out there and you leave them there, are they all networked to each other or back to a center where you administer them or follow them or update them? Or are they just standalone, autonomous right now with the assistance of maybe somebody locally there moving them around and all that stuff?
So currently, the way we are running these robots, they are connected to our server that is secure on our university site. So all the data is live streaming to our server through the robot. So we are not storing anything on the robot currently.
Okay.
We are trying to stick to the HIPAA rules and be very mindful of that. And that's what is happening. But the robots are not interacting with each other at this point because we only have 2 robots at each nursing home, one
Okay.
big one and one small one. But as we start to add robots, yes, they will be interacting. It's very cute. If you come to my lab, you will see I have lots of robots in there.
You have one behind you. Can you show it to us?
Yes, we
You
have
have one behind you, and I thought I saw another one on the side earlier.
Yes, there's one over here.
Oh, let's look at him.
Yeah,
Or it.
little guy still in a sleep mode.
Oh,
And then there's another little guy over there. And these are the smaller ones. So I have larger robots as well. But
Yeah.
these ones are very expressive in their body language. So we use them for yoga. They do dance. they are extremely cute. You can see how cute they are,
It is cute. How can a robot be cute? Cute's supposed to be for cats and dogs. But
No,
how is that so cute?
These are cute, aren't they?
Dave, you have to accept that they're cute. If not, Professor Khan will come out with her boxing gloves and make you understand it's cute. I know she told me she boxes to take out stress, so don't make her get her boxing gloves out and do a little Canelo Alvarez on you.
Or don't create a battle bot.
Wow, it's just all amazing. And the reason I asked you about the networking of the robots is that I would imagine that you're putting several of these, and you said they're streaming, because we're a tech company and we work with other tech companies and exactly in that area, networking. If they don't have the sufficient bandwidth and they start getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, especially I would imagine a larger facility, they may not have the data coming in real time and could cause some interruptions for the robots to work. So it's important, I would imagine, to have the right backbone and to have the right bandwidth. And like you said, the security, so the data stays secure.
Yes. And the thing is, when we first went to the first facility, we realized that the internet service that they had there wasn't sufficient for our robots to do what we wanted to do. But Monar took the initiative to fix that. So that has
Wow.
helped actually nursing homes also additionally, in addition to us, the residents also appreciate that. So we need the sufficient bandwidth and the right network because we are live streaming data, especially physiological data from the robots. And if we cannot get that consistency in our data, our AI algorithms will not be able to work properly, will not be able to predict what's going to happen, and everything will just shut down. So it's really important for us to have the right network and the right bandwidth. Residents actually get very disappointed when they see that the robot is not able to do what it's supposed to be doing.
Oh my goodness. So you've built the expectations after a time.
Yes. Yes.
Nice. I love that. Love that.
I'm just thinking here, we showed a couple of little clips of your robots in action and couldn't get enough of it. It put an immediate smile on my face watching the robot and watching them interact with the resident to get more eyeballs on this. I'm thinking about the cute factor. So people love dogs, people like cats, people might really think that these are so cute. I'm picturing a TikTok page. I'm picturing just TikTok videos and viral and millions of videos. You want exposure. I haven't seen robots on social media so much on TikTok or on YouTube Shorts. I think we got something here, Rolando.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny, Dave, because the professor and I talked a couple of weeks ago. If I were sitting back and maybe you have one of those graduate students, maybe they can eke out an hour or two a week that you could give it. Say, hey, look, you got a lot of footage of you and the robots and the patients. Let's go throw these on TikTok right now. Every day, put 1 or 2 clips, just 20, 30 seconds. Or even how your folks are doing the research.
Yes.
It will pay dividends. There's good ROI in that, especially in your area. There aren't a ton of clips or footage of robots interacting with humans in this way.
Yeah, actually, the robots, they do a really good job with dancing. And some of those dances, actually, I should put it on the TikTok.
Here we go.
We're trying to get them to dance. I don't know if they're going to take
I
it.
want you to program and do a little of this, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. You just have to put on a little bit of music, and I'm there.
I can try and see if this little guy will dance. I don't know.
Yeah, let me see. Let's see some of that.
I don't know if we have loaded the software on it. Oh, I can go to my lab if that works for you.
Sure, we're here for you.
So here we are in one of my labs. You can see my students. So we have lots of robots here. You see them?
Wow, look at them.
Which one is the one that Macarena?
Oh, Macarena. I'll do Macarena with the robot.
Little one. Yeah, little one. No, I think it'll be good.
I'm getting ready.
Yeah.
I'm getting in the mood. I'm warming up.
Doing the dance. Here you can see how I am doing.
Yeah. Okay. A dance off. Okay. I'm ready. I'm doing my own version. I'm not even kidding. Awesome. That is
All
so
right,
awesome.
Rolando and
The robot won,
robot.
hands down.
That was a good show, Rolando.
All right. I'm available for bar mitzvahs and birthdays if you need me. Oh my goodness. Well, listen, one of the other things that we talked about, Professor, was how these robots are working in these facilities. You talked about your research. What's in the near future? What's in store? What's down the road, the next 12, 24 months? What are you looking forward to doing with your robots?
The next few months, actually, I'm really looking forward to taking my robots to neurology clinics. There are neurologists from Michigan who are very keen on using my robots. So that's where they are going next. So they are going to be helping neurologists taking care of the people with dementia.
Wow, that is serious stuff. People that work with the brain. You know, we got to have you back in because I'm really fascinated. I am fascinated by the brain, behavioral sciences, and how the brain works. There's so much we know and then a ton we don't.
Yes.
And this type of technology being used and deployed and applied in the way you're doing it with the smart sensors, with the networking, it only has room to get better, to grow, to get cheaper, as you said, get that cost down. I'm really fascinated. I'm looking forward to where you can take this. I really am. Maybe I'll send my brother who's not far from you and drop in and maybe take a robot from you because, you know, I'm fascinated. Maybe we can use it ourselves.
So, Rolando, I would love to come back in 4 to 5 months and talk about the new things that I'm going to be deploying.
Awesome. Whenever you're ready,
Yes.
you've got my information. You know how to hit me up.
Yes.
Sure. What we also want to do is highlight where people can get a hold of you. If somebody wants a deployment of a fleet of these in our nursing home or throughout our entire health facilities, how should someone get a hold of you for that?
They can email me, and my email is akhan@p.unn.edu. I'm going to put it in the chat here.
Okay. And Ori, can we show her University of Minnesota page as well? So for those folks that are following us on video, they can also see that and see some of the resources and information that she's got there. Ori will cue that up. And so for folks that are going to be watching this on video, you can see Professor Khan and all her work, her resources, her studies, the research she's done, where she's been featured. You can get a hold of her at University of Minnesota Duluth. Go champ the Bulldog, right? Interesting little corner of the country, great part of the world. I would imagine right now getting cold at this time of the year.
It is getting cold. Actually, it was degrees this morning and it felt like 2 degrees.
Oh, no. You live in my old home or my second home state, and I got to tell you, I do not miss that. Basically, I have 6 months of winter from October all the way through. When I was in college, it snowed the last week of May.
Yes,
We
it
got
does.
snow. I cannot believe it should not snow anywhere in this country in the last week of May.
Yes. It was snowing this morning. It was snowing last night. It was snowing yesterday morning. So the grounds are white.
Oh my! Just that alone should merit more funding into what you're doing. Maybe create robots that can create nice warm temperatures inside the office there.
I have so many robots in my lab that when I run all of them, the lab just heats up.
Imagine.
It reminds you probably of your youth being in India, all that warmth there.
Yes, it sure does.
But yeah, we got to be mindful of the professor's time. We want to respect her time today. We are going to have her on for a second time as we've extended that invitation to her.
Excellent. We've been speaking with Dr. Arshia Khan. If you've enjoyed this episode, go check out our earlier episodes and hear what Tara Campbell-Lucier has to say about cultivating an equitable environment for caregivers. That episode you can check out at circuitloops.com.
Awesome, Dave. And today's episode, you can watch that or listen to it all on Circuit Loops. We appreciate you watching us today. And if you're watching us on YouTube, I've got a couple of other episodes that are very helpful and enlightening. So go ahead and check those out. I will see you in those episodes.
Thanks for listening to What the Tech. Be sure to check out our other episodes featuring awesome tech and amazing guests. Find them on circuitloops.com or wherever you consume your favorite podcasts.